You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of not only sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. There's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone. Well, this Twilight Zone is a little different. The way it starts is there's a man. He seems to be a little disheveled, a little cold, a little eerie. He looks like he's tired. It's raining extremely bad, very harshly outside. And he's talking to someone. We don't know who he's talking to. But as he talks to him, he's saying something like this. I know it's an incredible story. I of all people know this, that you won't believe me. No, not at first. But I'm going to tell you the whole thing, and then you will believe, because you must believe. It happened many years ago, after the First World War. I was walking on a trip through Central Europe, and I got lost in the storm. Thunder's crashing, and the lightning is doing its thing. You know what I'm saying? And there's a whole bunch going on there. And during all this storming, you see this man. He comes across this castle. You know what I'm saying? Big old castle. And he looks tired, he looks weak, rain, and I don't know what's going on. And he's knocking on the door. He's trying to get in. And he knocks, and someone comes to the door and says, yes, what is it? Please let me in. I'm lost. I'm sorry, we don't allow visitors here at the Hermitage, the man says. Oh, I'm not a visitor. I'm a stranger here. I'm lost. You don't understand. The man is coughing. He seems to be sick. So the man, he opens up the door to this castle and he allows the gentleman to walk in. As he walks in, you see a whole bunch of big, tall white men with long beards, you know what I'm saying? And these big old beat-em-down sticks, staffs of some sort. And he's walking, and the man, he's kind of tired. You know, when you ever watched, if you ever watched Batman and Robin Owen with Burt Ward, you know, with Adam West, you know, everything was sideways, and you had to kind of catch your head sideways to kind of see it, you know. It's kind of, I guess, the way this particular Twilight Zone was going. Everything was kind of going from one side to the next. And I think it was to signify how sick the man was, you know. But as he walked in and these other men were standing around, he walks over and the man says, wait here. I'll have to speak with Brother Jerome. And then you hear this, oh, the man looked kind of crazy, like, what the hell was that? And then the gentleman comes back out. Says, Brother Jerome will speak with you now. Oh! The man said, what was that? The gentleman said, it's the wind. Come. So he walks into the office there and speaks to Brother Jerome. Brother Jerome's sitting at the table and he says, why have you come here? The man said, oh my goodness. My name is Ellington. I was on a walking trip, but I got lost in the storm. Oh God, excuse me. I saw light here. What do you want from us? Shelter and maybe some food. We cannot help you. You will have to leave now. Now! So the guy was like, oh, okay, good Lord, Jesus, have mercy. So the guy, he turned around to leave, you know. He started to walk out. And as he started to walk out, he He got halfway out, he fell out, he passed out. Bam! Right on the doggone floor. And all these brothers, Jerome himself, looked out there and was kind of looking at him. Then over in the corner, you could see Rod Serling, you know, the guy that runs the show. He comes out and he says something like this. The prostrate form of Mr. David Ellington, scholar, seeker of truth, and regrettably, finder of truth. A man who will shortly arise from his exhaustion to confront a problem that has tormented mankind since the beginning of time. A man who knocked on the door seeking sanctuary and found instead the outer limits of the Twilight Zone. And Rod Serling, might know he was good with the word, but well, anyways, the man, he eventually woke up. He woke up, he started walking around the castle, you know, looking around. And then, oh, man was looking like, oh my God, what was that? And he makes his way to a cell there in the castle. And as soon as he walks over there, he sees a man, you know, kind of got his back to him, you know. And the man turns around and suddenly runs over to him. And he says, help me. Oh, please, in the name of mercy, help me. You're not one of them. And he was like, no, my name is Ellington. I'm an American. The guy was like, shh, quiet. We have only moments. Come closer. Come closer, Mr. Ellington. Look, they're mad, Mr. Ellington. All of them. Raving mad. Listen to me, Mr. Ellington. I was in the village of Schwarzwald. I was walking in the street with my woman, you know. And while we were walking, we passed the rest by this tree, and it was really nice out there. It's kind of beautiful, you know. So we kissed, you know. That's all we did. Is me and my woman, we kissed. Tell me, is there anything wrong with kissing? And Mr. Ellington looked at him and said, no, I don't think so. Of course you don't think so. I don't think so. But Jerome, the lecherous old fool, we looked up and saw him standing close by. I tried to open my mouth to speak, but before I could utter a sound, he raised that heavy staff that he carries. You've seen it, haven't you? Well, yes, I think I have. And he beat me again and again. Oh, he beat me like a Hebrew slave. Oh, God. Well, why would he do such a thing? For revenge. Revenge? It's because my woman, she refused his advances. So he took his fury out on me. And Ellington looked at the man and said, I'm finding this difficult to believe. And the man said, that's the strength of the man, Mr. Ellington. He makes his madness seem a harmless thing. The madness of religious zealots. This is not a religious order, Mr. Ellington. These so-called brothers of truth, they're outcasts, you know. Misfits, cut off from the world because the world won't have them. Oh, Mr. Ellington, please, you must believe me. I don't say they're evil. I say they're mad. Mr. Ellington, where are you going? Hold on, man. I'm going to go speak to Jerome. Oh, no. He's the greatest maniac of them all. And then you see old Jerome standing over the corner there with them other brothers. Brothers of Brother Jerome. And Jerome looks and he says, Mr. Ellington, I didn't know you well enough to walk. Come with Miss B. And Mr. Ellington said, look, I must talk to you. This way. I must ask you to leave the Hermitage, Mr. Ellington. You know, we have no facilities for the care of the ill. In fact, I believe that arrangements can be made in the village of Schwarzwald. And Ellington was like, now just a minute. No, not a minute, not another second. Now, Mr. Ellington, now. Mr. Ellington said, well, why? I mean, and Jerome said, well, I've already explained that. No, you've explained nothing. I know no one asked me to come here. I realize that, but that's no excuse for your behavior. My son. I'm not your son. No, you don't understand. That's right, I don't. So why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me? Well, why are you in such a hurry for me to leave? I mean, what are you afraid that I'm going to find out? Is it the man that you have locked up in the cell? It's him, isn't it, brother? Well, that's not a secret anymore. I mean, I know about him. Oh, what man are you referring to, Mr. Ellington? The one I just left, the one who's been screaming his head off. Mr. Ellington, I'm not sure you know what you're saying. Look, brother, I don't know much about this cult of yours. What is permitted, what's not permitted. But I seriously doubt if you have the authority to imprison a man against his will. Mr. Ellington, no man has ever been imprisoned here at the Hermitage. Oh, come on, man, I was just talking to him. You talk to no man. You've been ill, Mr. Ellington. You know you suffered delirium. Oh, you heard that howling, right? And Ellington jumped up out the chair. He was like, oh, well, hold on now. Wait a minute now. Don't tell me you didn't hear that. No, Brother Jerome, honest men make unconvincing liars. You know I'll find out eventually. What do you mean? Just what I say. You know, the police will be very interested to learn that you people are keeping a man in prison here. And then he turned to leave, to walk out old Brother Jerome's office. And Brother Jerome said, Mr. Ellington! And Ellington turned, like, oh my goodness. He said, yeah? He said, would you really go to the police? Mr. Ellington looked at Brother Jerome and said, would you? And Ellington said, very well, I have to tell you the truth. I want to say, Mr. Ellington, that I have been telling you the truth, but only part of it, I see now that I'm going to have to tell you the whole truth. Shut the door, Mr. Ellington. Oh! You hear that howling again, right? And as he howled, the man, he covered his ears, Brother Jerome covered his ears, and Ellington said, then you do hear it, as I've heard it every hour of every day for 5 long years. But why did you lie? I didn't. When I told you that no man housed at the Hermitage, I was being perfectly honest. What you saw is no man. It is the devil himself. And you lightning striking, thunder crashing. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is thrilling stuff here. Yes, Mr. Ellington, what you heard is the devil himself. What you heard in the cell, howling, is Satan, otherwise known as the Dark Angel, our man, Amadeus, Belia, Diablos, the devil. Well, you do believe me, don't you? Ellington looked at him and said, well, sure, I believe you. No. Now it is you that are lying, Mr. Ellington. You don't believe me at all. Quite to the contrary. You're quite certain of what you suspected, that I am mad. Sit down, Mr. Ellington, and we'll see Let me tell you a story, and we'll see how certain you are that I am mad, how certain that you are of anything. Now, Mr. Ellington, I suppose you fancy yourself as a sophisticated man. I'm sure you consider us to be primitive because we live here in solitude, away from the so-called real world. We are misfits. No, I don't say that. No! I know all of the theories. Look, I assure you, brother, that no, Mr. Ellington, I assure you, I am not the ignorant fanatic I would appear. Oh, I've coped with your world for 40 years, and rather successfully at that. The best schools, a degree in philosophy, a job that took me to the ends of the earth. I know you're looking at this beard, this staff, and this faith. But Mr. Ellington, they are merely the result of a different point of view. If you could understand that, if you could listen to what I have to say with an open mind. Oh! The damn howling again, huh? And Ellington was looking too. And then Brother Jerome said, 5 years ago, there were no howls in the Hermitage. There was simply the bombed out ruins of an old castle belonging to the family Wolfring. Old Baron Wolfring gave it to the Brotherhood of Truth as a gesture of charity. Our job was to tend the vineyard and save what souls we could by constant prayer. But, Jerome, this is not a religious order, is it, brother? We feel that we have been recognized by God. Truth is our dogma. We believe it to be man's greatest weapon against the devil, who is the father of all lies. All right, man, go on with the story. I mean, you attended the vineyard, yeah? Yes. At that time, shortly after the Great War, the world was in chaos, Mr. Ellington. Everywhere was unhappiness, except here in this little village below. For some reason, the people of Schwarzwald refused to yield to despair. They lost none of their faith. They continued as they had been for centuries, honest, God-fearing, and happy. This village was a plum to Satan one he could not resist. So he came here to embark upon a program of corruption. But you stopped him. Yes. You see, Mr. Ellington, he made the same mistake that you have made. He underestimated me. He thought he would have no difficulty in tempting the old fool. But I had him in a cell before he knew what happened. But, Brother Jerome, if he is the devil, I mean, how do you keep him locked up? With this staff of truth. The one barrier that he cannot pass. Okay, staff of truth. Barrier he can't pass. Got you. Let me ask you one more question, Brother Jerome. Go right ahead, my son. I mean, how did you recognize him? I mean, he doesn't look evil. Not to me. The devil has the power to assume a pleasing shape. Oh, I had seen him before in all parts of the world. In all forms and guises. Wherever there was sin, wherever there was strife, wherever there was corruption and persecution, there he was also. Oh, Mr. Ellington, sometimes he was only a spectator, or facing the crowd, but always he was there. Well, I suppose this is an incredible story. Well, listen, Mr. Ellington, it's very true. Now you see why you must say nothing of what you've seen and heard here. Brother Jerome, not that I doubt you, you understand. Only isn't it possible that you might have made a mistake? No! Think, Mr. Mr.